Happy you got your jacket back?
Ah, yes, I was happy about that. And I'm going to re-waterproof it.
There you go.
Are you going to use 1 or 50 messages, or 50 different types of waterproofing?
I think I'll stick with 1, and we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Well, it says it's live. However,
that's what it says here.
Click any of the buttons. So, we're live. Let's go ahead and play some music, start a podcast, because that's what we're here to do.
Are we live or are we quasi-live?
Quasi-live, quasi-Memorex.
Okay.
See, those are the... I can't click to select those. It says wait till the... Oh, there it goes. The podcast is now officially live according to the Googles.
Okay.
Yay.
Here we go. Hey, thanks for joining us on a Thursday evening, and welcome to Caching in the Northwest. This is the only podcast dedicated to geocaching in the great Pacific Northwest. We're going to talk about caches and cachers unique to this little corner of the country. So check your email and dig out your little Orphan Annie decoder ring. It's time to go caching in the Northwest.
That's right, and that means it's time to bring in our podcast's own Lackey Monkey. Some say he's smarter than your average smartphone, and others say geocaching.com invested in faster servers just to calculate his stats. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Well, that's me. I'm the Land Monkey, and definitely the lackey for the podcast, but that's all right. I enjoy being the lackey for this podcast. And I got to say, investing in faster servers, I think that's actually more for our guest tonight than it was for me, but we'll get into that a little bit. So, listeners... Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the show once again. And as I've alluded to, and if you follow me on social media, you definitely got a big hint this morning. We are bringing back one of our audience favorites, RockChalk.
Hello, everybody. Very happy to be back. An audience favorite too. That's kind of cool. I don't know who voted on that, but I'll take your word for it.
You're definitely an audience favorite.
A unanimous decision by both of our listeners.
Thank you very much. Well, thanks to both of them. I appreciate it. I will be sending flowery baskets to everybody. So, yeah.
Nice. Flowery baskets.
Flowery.
Hey, I'm getting some chatter over here in the Q&A that the video is not working well on Google Hangouts. If you're having trouble watching this, you can always go to youtube.com/cachingNW and catch the live stream there.
Yes, apparently the Googles are displeased this evening. So
does seem in a way.
It does happen from time to time. We must appease the Googles. But hey, we're here and it's Thursday night. However you're finding us, or it's Wednesday morning at 2 a.m. if you're listening to this recording at that particular time, on the commute at 6 a.m. Whenever you find us, here we are. We're recording live Thursday night, 9 p.m. Pacific.
Maybe you're listening to this podcast in between your medal-winning rounds of whatever sport you're participating in Rio.
This is true. And let us know if you're listening from Rio. That would be really exciting, because I've never been to Brazil. I'd hope to go someday. But we're here, and as we're recording it right now, it's it's August. But if you think back with us, way back to July, which really wasn't all that long ago, in the month of July, we had a little fun introducing the Land Monkey, as we are wont to do. This year is America's 240th birthday, so to celebrate for 3 weeks in July, we used 80s lyrics to introduce Land Monkey. Do the math, 3 weeks, 80s lyrics, 3 times 8, 240. That's how the Bad Cop worked out the contest. And it was kind of fun. People wrote in and tried to identify the tracks. And I have to happy to announce that we have a winner. Can you do a drum roll? Does this work?
There you go.
The winner of that contest is Dano. of Team Pugetch.
Hey!
So-
Yay! Thanks, Dano.
Congratulations to Dano, and I suppose since he won, we should send him something.
Stuff.
So, hey, you know what?
What?
Let's give away more of the bad cop stuff.
Okay.
He's not paying attention anyway.
What's
you
he
know?
got behind him there?
I don't know. And you know what? Let's throw in a runner-up prize for Limax because he entered too and came in a very close second.
Excellent.
Yeah. So thanks to everybody who entered. Thanks to everybody that listens. Thanks to all of you for joining us on Thursday night. And so we're going to get going with another stellar podcast, I'm sure. But as you know, before we get going, well, we have to start glowing.
That's right. We are, as always, calling this segment Glow, or the Geocaching Log of the Week. And remember, folks, whether you wrote it or not, we want to hear about it. We want to hear about your exciting geocaching adventures. So send an email to feedback@cachingnw.com, call in to 253-693-TFTC, or use the voicemail tool on the website and show us just exactly how you glow.
That's right. And I know this is going to come to a surprise for frequent listeners, but this week's glow, well, Limax found the machine. That's another in the series of the machine. This one is the Beacon of Hope.
I think he's found all the machines now.
I haven't found any, so I need to follow in his footsteps and start finding the machines. But
All right.
not tonight. Tonight we read about the Limax log of the machine Beacon of Hope, and it reads, after my most recent encounter with the machine, I decided that I needed to do a bit more research into it and try and figure out why it has suddenly targeted me. Since Smythe was his first target, I figured by exploring the place where Smythe first encountered it, I might be able to get into its circuits and see what makes it tick. I retraced Smythe's footsteps and tried to see the whole scene through his eyes. As I looked for the spot that caught his eye, I came across a great spot for the machine to have hidden. I explored this great spot for a while, but could come up with no trace of the machine there. I could feel the tears start to fill my eyes again. Just as my vision started going blurry, a light went off in my head, and something caught my eye, probably just as it had caught Smythe's. Soon, I found the place that the machine had probably hidden. All it did was leave me with more questions. As I signed the piece of paper I found there, I started thinking back to all the different incarnations that the machine had taken. I did not know what form it would take next, but I knew I had to be ready for it to strike again without warning.
There you go. Well, thank you very much, Limax, for not only submitting your glows for us to read on the show, but more importantly, for writing fun and interesting logs when you find a cache, which is the whole point of the glow segment. We're trying to encourage all of you guys to write cool, fun, innovative logs when you find geocaches, or logs for trackables too.
Exactly. We know somebody who's doing that. Hey, my mic seems to be working again. I don't appreciate you guys sending my stuff away. But okay. Anyway.
All right. Well, hey, folks, let's see how the past week in geocaching or just general outdoors recreation went for you. Bad cop.
Well, you know, I have done a bit of that other game that's so popular lately, that outdoor game.
Munzie?
It's a little different than that.
Letterboxing.
Yeah.
There you go. With my son, you know, it's amazing that finally found something that he says, let's see, I'm going to walk up to the store in order to hatch this egg. I'll be back. Really? You want to go places? You want to walk? What is up with you? But I've, you know, been able to say, hey, let's go here. You can do that game, and I'm going to go find this geocache. So it's been fun to be able to, you know, have my son with me, and he wants to go out now.
Quality family time.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
There you go. How about you, Witsand?
Well, I spent time with my son as well, although we didn't play a lot of games. We were doing a job. I missed you guys last week. I was in Louisville, Kentucky, doing a job, and my son was working the job with me. We, as you know, the week before, stopped in Chicago on the way to Louisville, and because we were working and traveling and really busy, we didn't have a lot of time to get outdoors and do much caching, but I did find a few. I managed to clear up a DNF from the last time I was in Louisville. That was very satisfying.
Nice.
And on this journey, I managed to add 2 new states to my find map. I added Wisconsin, as I mentioned before, and added Indiana last week. So that was a lot of fun.
Very cool. Very cool.
And Land Monkey, what about yourself?
Well, what about myself? So this weekend there wasn't as much geocaching, and if you've been following the show, you know we're kind of reining it in a little bit right now because we're creeping up very quickly on cache find number 9,000, and we're trying to save it for Alaska.
Cool.
So,
I'm coming up on that too.
On number 9,000?
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah, we're all
Just around
working
the
that
corner.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, but we're all coming up on cache find 9,000.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, so we did find a couple. What I actually did is I refound some that we had found before in order to dip my deadly duck trackable that I've been carrying around into some unique and fun caches. But what we were mostly doing is we had family visiting us from Germany, so we were touring them around the Greater Vancouver area. We took them up the Fraser Canyon, to all the way up to Spence's Bridge. Stopped in at Hell's Gate. Stopped in at Harrison Hot Springs because one of my nephews is fascinated with Bigfoot, so that seems like the place to go if you're
Did you catch him?
No, I didn't. He's somewhat elusive.
Your nephew or Bigfoot?
My nephew.
Okay.
He's somewhere roaming the woods around Harrison Lake. That's all right. Anyways, but yeah, so we did that. Not to mention we did a stop in Fort Langley. Took them up to the North Shore Mountains and. But hey, how about you, RockChalk? What have you been up to?
Well, I was down in Utah last weekend for some work stuff. First, we went down there for the Outdoor Retailer Conference in Salt Lake City, and then I tacked on a couple of vacation days to spend some more time down there. But it was fun. Even on the work days after the conference, we were able, me and a fellow lackey who was at the conference with me, we were able to do some pretty fun caches there in Salt Lake City together. A couple of virtuals and some other of the higher favorited caches there around the city. And then in the days down there, went down around Provo a little bit, and then went out near Park City and got up into the mountains a little bit. There was, I thought, a very suitable mountain for me. It was Bald Mountain, and that's where I summited Bald Mountain, and that was up to about 12,000 feet. So that was kind of nice. And just had a beautiful day for that, and worked on the Utah Geo Tour a little bit. It's a very nicely done Geo Tour. If you ever have a chance to go down there, I only found, I guess, 3 caches, which was enough for me to get a patch. The way they do it is you have to find 3 out of the 5 caches that are in each of the counties, and so each county has its own patch. And then apparently if you cover every county, you get a very nice jacket, which I would have to spend a lot of time in Utah to make that happen. But I got 1 patch, so that was cool, and was back here on Monday. And now my sister's in town, and we're talking about maybe doing some hiking or some kayaking here closer to Seattle this weekend.
Nice. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to be doing some kayaking this weekend with. And so speaking of jackets and kayaking, I'm going to be kayaking with somebody who brought you a jacket.
Oh, are you really? Very nice. Yes, we had one of your fellow British Columbians down here at HQ. Well, 4 of them actually down here at HQ to return the jacket that I had very unfortunately left behind when I went up to a great event that you guys had there in BC a few weeks ago, and she was kind enough to come down to HQ with 3 of her friends and returned my jacket to me, and we had a nice time there at headquarters. I believe that was Tuesday of this week. So,
nice.
So yes, I have my jacket back now, and it's now trackable. which was unusual, but that was still pretty cool. And I'll tell you, you guys up there in BC, you are some creative folk.
So was it not trackable when you left it? But
No,
it was trackable
not.
when it was returned.
That is correct.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes.
Did they bring a police escort? Because as I recall, you entered that event with a police escort of sorts.
Well, it was the police, let's put it that way, and they were not in their uniforms this time, but it was the same people that did escort me.
Okay.
There at the Gadget Game,
well,
which I haven't seen the video of that. Land Monkey, I hope that's out there somewhere.
Oh, it is. I'll email you the link.
Okay,
but
cool.
we can.
Groundspeak HQ is outside their jurisdiction, so.
Yeah, that's true, right?
They were off duty.
That's right.
We can definitely throw the link to that in the show notes as well, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Nice.
Awesome. All right. Well, that sounds like you have been a very busy fella.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, you guys know how it is here in the Northwest. I mean, once the summer starts, you just want to take advantage of it as much as you can. As far as caching wise, because these weekends are so beautiful and just so perfect for caching that I almost hated to go to Utah, honestly, for a week for a weekend because I hated missing one of these great Northwest weekends. And later this month, I'm going back home to Kansas City for a couple of weekends, and that's killing me. Just to know that I'm trading a couple of August Northwest weekends for a couple of Midwest Northwest or Midwest weekends. It's not a fair trade. So yeah, I kind of feel like, I don't know if you guys feel this way, like you're just kind of running ragged between June and at least September.
Yeah, it's September, if not the start of October.
Yeah, and it just kind of almost makes you tired. It's like I almost want winter to get here so I don't feel bad about staying home for a weekend.
Well, at least in Kansas City, you can drown your sorrows in excellent barbecue.
That is barbecue and humidity. Yeah. So I'll be drowning in both of those things.
Now, don't tell everybody in Kansas how nice it is here.
No.
You want to keep that a secret.
Yeah. Oh no,
it rains here all the time.
Yeah. Absolutely. I've made sure to let them know how horrible it is, and it's just dark and cloudy all the time.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, Bad Cop, do we have any news we want to hit before we get into the rest of the show? I was just going to say, before we dig in, let's get to some news. And thanks to Mark from OBeep, who is listening tonight. He's in the Q&A.
Hi, Mark.
Apparently, he says he hears that my son is 40, which isn't true. But his information is wrong.
He's getting at with that
must be the conversion rate.
Well, that's what it is, yeah.
So, Mark from the OBeep Geocaching Podcast sends a story to Land Monkey. It's the Great Canadian Bumblebee Count. It ends August 15th. So, if you happen to love taking close-up photos with bees, and this is the thing to do for the next few days, take a photo with a bumblebee, log into the site, and use the guides on the site to identify the species, and the sighting will be verified by experts.
Wow.
That seems like fun.
Yeah, and the purpose is to just get a better understanding of which varieties of bumblebees are there, because as people may or may not know, they're starting to be a little concerned about bee populations, honeybee populations. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Last summer they were trying to build a nest in my eaves, and I was like, "Oh, I can't spray them and get rid of them. What am I going to do?"
Are you sure it was not wasps?
No, it was definitely bees.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And, they decided to move on their own, so I feel good. I've saved the world.
There you go. One bumblebee at a time.
Exactly.
All right. Well, hey, you know what? Let's get back to tonight's special guest, friend of the show. We hope still friend of the show, RockChalk from geocaching.com. We haven't been ignoring him for too long, but we do want to get back into the topics that we're having here. This is an interesting conversation because you, sir, have been a very busy boy.
Yes, on a variety of things.
And we have a variety of things to talk to you about tonight, but I'm going to throw it over to the bad cop.
All right.
Well, thank you very much. Now, we've heard about numerous RockChalk sightings all over the Northwest. I mean, it seems like you've been everywhere. And there's been this blog article that just came up about a trip to Brazil. So what have you been up to geocaching-wise this summer?
Well, the Brazil thing, that actually happened the very first weekend of June. And so that was kind of, right there near the start of summer. And that was kind of a whirlwind trip, really. It was something that I actually had planned to do last fall, and I only planned it because I got a really, really good airfare. And it was one of those things where I still remember sitting on the couch one night. I was just playing around on an airline website, and I thought, oh, I wonder what a trip to Brazil would be. And I plugged in the numbers, and I was like, whoa, that's not nearly as bad as I thought it would be. And literally within 10 minutes, I decided to buy a trip to Brazil, and that was how much thought I put into it. And then some things in that the plan was to go, I think, in November or October or November. Had some
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
I hope not.
fair.
Oh, there we go.
Did you lose me? Am I back?
Broke up a little bit there.
Oh, my
You're
back. Am I
back.
back now?
And your friend.
Okay.
It's like 3D.
So anyway, had to postpone it to this year, which actually worked out kind of a little bit better because, with the Olympics going on, they were waiving the visa fees for U.S. residents going to Brazil between June 1st and sometime in September. And so that was like $150 that's the usual visa fee that was waived. And so anyway, what I did was I flew from Seattle through Toronto, and then Toronto straight to Sao Paulo, and landed there on a Friday morning, and met up with a guy named Rui, who is one of the community volunteer moderators in the Groundspeak forums, and so he moderates the Brazil forums. And so Rui lives in northern Brazil, and he was just awesome to meet me in Sao Paulo at the air. He literally met me at the airport, and we got in a car and drove off to Sao Paulo, or to Intervales, which is about a 3.5-hour drive, I think, from the Sao Paulo airport. And got there late Friday, and remember, it's their winter time, being June there, so it was getting dark like at 4:45 or 5 o'clock, which was really weird for me.
Yeah.
But by the time I got there, I had been, like I said, I left Seattle like at 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, got to Brazil Friday morning. It was around 8 or 9 o'clock, and I'm not somebody that sleeps well on planes. And so I think I slept for all of about 45 minutes on the plane. So by the time it hit Friday night, about 5 or 6, I was just really struggling to keep my eyes open. And so I was fine with it getting dark. We went to bed and then got up first thing Saturday. And first thing we did was hiked. We stayed there in the park at Intervales. They have multiple lodges there at the park, and they're very comfortable. So we got up Saturday morning. First thing we did was hiked to the Ape Cache, and it's a very reasonable hike. It's no more than, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 miles one way. Very fairly level terrain. It's nothing bad. Anybody could do it. And once we had found that, the cool thing now is that over the years, multiple caches have been placed around this park. And so I want to say we hiked, I don't know, 13 miles that day, just going from, it's a beautiful park. It's really well known for bird watching, and for, it has caves, it has waterfalls, and so it's a protected area. And so when we were there that weekend, there was a group of people that was spelunking, and then there was a group of people that was birding, and none of them, we explained geocaching to them just so they knew what it was, but we were the only 2 people that were there to geocache. So we were there all day Saturday, and then Sunday we got up first thing. We drove back to Sao Paulo, and actually had a fun experience that I didn't talk about in the blog. And that was we went to a really large city park there in Sao Paulo that Rui had been to before, and there's lots of caches there. So we parked and started walking around, and we arrived at this one cache, and we saw a group of three youngsters, I would say ranging in age from 10 to 16 or 17, and they all had their smartphones out, and it looked very much like they were geocaching. And Rui went up and just asked if they were looking for a geocache, and they said that they were. And as it turns out, one of the three spoke great English, so I was able to talk to him. And it turns out it was only the second. They had literally just started geocaching that day. And it was just so neat. It was their second cache that they were looking for. And it was kind of funny that I thought how funny it would be that somebody from the website just kind of pops out of the trees when you're finding your second cache.
That's pretty
Need
awesome.
help looking for your second cache? Click here.
That's
A
exactly.
lackey will materialize.
Yeah.
Like we're just waiting behind every time, every. But it was fun. We found that cache together, and then they said, well, our mom is waiting to pick us up, so we have to take off. So we went our separate ways. And maybe 30 minutes later, we ran into them again at another spot in the park. They were looking for this other cache, and the oldest boy who could speak English, he said, yeah, we just. I know my mom's going to be so mad, but we just had to find this. We had to find this, last one, and it was just so cool to see these new players, having such a great time with it, and you could tell just kind of getting hooked by the game, and just getting to watch that happen was a lot of fun. And anyway, then I flew back through Toronto again, and actually had a great adventure on my layover. I think I landed at 7 in the morning, and I didn't have to fly out until maybe 6 or 7 in the evening. And so I met up with Cache Shadow, who is one of the Ontario reviewers, and he drove me out to Niagara Falls,
Oh, wow.
which I'd never seen before.
Wow. I've
And,
never
and
been
that
either.
was. Oh, it was awesome. It was so cool, and we found some great caches too, and we had a lunchtime event with, I would say, maybe 15 or 20 folks there from near Niagara Falls, and so that was awesome. And then I was back in Seattle. I guess it would have been Monday night. So I left Thursday morning. I was back Monday night. I don't know that I would recommend that for a Brazil trip, but that's the way it worked out for me.
Wow, that is a whirlwind trip. Wow.
That's
I
amazing.
impulse buy ice cream at the supermarket. You impulse buy trips to Brazil.
Right, isn't that? Yes, that's kind of a scary comparison, but
I've got to up my game. That's what it means. I've got to up my game.
There you go.
Well, I'm fortunate that most of my vices are fairly healthy, and geocaching is certainly the biggest one of all. And fortunately, it's a pretty good vice to have, I think.
Well, wow, yeah, we certainly run in different circles apparently there. So apparently, if you pick up the new hobby of geocaching as a teenager in Brazil, Lackey's just materialized there. Also, apparently, if you throw incredibly creative gadget-themed cache events in Vancouver, BC, Lackey's come visit you there. And if you waive visa fees, that helps too. But for the rest of us, poor folk, how exactly does one lobby to get a Lackey to come out and visit them? I mean, would free ice cream, food, beer, one of those things help, or do we need to entice you with international travel events near Niagara Falls?
And steal your jacket.
Yeah.
I think everything you mentioned, aside from stealing the jacket, is fair game. No, but the Gadget Games event there in BC was just awesome. I mean, what a creative event, and my wife and I just had an awesome time there. Yeah, I mean, and actually, I had heard about it here on this show, right? So that was pretty cool to be able to hear about that and then be able to get up there and spend some time with you guys there.
It's very cool to have you come and join us. That's for
fun.
sure. Hey, so switching. Well, actually, did we answer the question? Not really. Like, in all seriousness, if somebody wanted to have a lackey come out and visit their event, what's the criteria? How does that work?
Oh, I mean, I think it's pretty informal, really. You know, I mean, I think there's kind of a difference between like mega events and just the standard events. For a standard event, what often happens is somebody will email HQ and say, hey, we've got something going on. Could you make sure that the lackeys know about it? And that's happened to me a few times. I mean, for instance, I remember last year I went down to Battleground, Washington for their coin challenge, and I love coin challenges, but I don't know that I would have necessarily have heard about that one if it wasn't for the organizer emailing and saying, hey, could you let the lackeys know that it's going on? And so we always love hearing about that stuff, and then it really just depends on what a person's plans are and if they're available and if they're heading that direction. So some of us have a little bit more flexibility than others, and then mega events are kind of a different a different category, because we pick a certain number of those each year to send it's kind of a here with who gets to go to those events once we've decided once the committee that decides which megas will be part of. I think this year there was something like 15 megas around the world, 15 to 20. I don't know what the exact number was, but then we have essentially a drawing to decide who gets to go to those. And I've not been picked in my 2 years. My nemesis Ben has been picked multiple times, which figures.
That sounds like it's rigged to me.
I know, right? That's kind of what I don't want to say that, but I don't mind that you said it.
Well, trust me, if there's somebody who's going to complain about contests at geocaching.com, I'll be that one.
You're on a couple of lists there, Len.
So anyway,
okay.
Yeah, but as far as just regular events go, I mean, if you want to let us know about it, certainly email the HQ account, and they'll spread the word.
Very cool.
Nice.
And I do have to jump into the Q&A for a moment just to clarify that Dora Moore does write that she did not steal the jacket. She returned it in person. And,
yes, that's true. Technically speaking,
Semantics.
It was not stolen.
There was an excuse needed to visit HQ.
I think that if the jacket was a human being, it may have felt like, I don't know if kidnapped is the right word, but it certainly was maybe not ransomed either, but there was some variation of
misled?
that. I just think the jacket, if it had feelings, it might have felt like it was in a precarious situation. Let's just put it that way. But everything worked out, and Debbie and her group, we love to have them at HQ. So it was all's well that ends well. I'm just saying that the jacket, if it could speak, it may or may not have a different feeling about how everything went down. But it might be just as upset at me, maybe even more so for leaving it alone in a foreign country.
It has abandonment issues.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame it. It hasn't let me wear it since it came back, so that might have to do with it being like 80 degrees outside. So
yeah.
But no, I'm feeling good about having it back.
Good stuff. And one other one I wanted to grab out of the Q&A, Mark Downing from the OB podcast is watching live. Hi, Mark. And he did also add his idea about how you get a lackey to come out. And he said, having seen Miss Jen at a hotel over here, which would be in the UK, it seems Bacon brings lackeys out to places.
Is that right, Bacon, huh?
Mm-hmm. Apparently.
Well, I would love to get over to UK. Actually, that's kind of on my bucket list right now. I was looking at I forget what made me think to look for it, but I saw that there's a webcam at Abbey Road, and I
Oh,
thought
that's cool.
I thought I need to get that webcam someday.
Yeah.
That's maybe near the very top of my bucket list now.
Very
Perhaps
nice.
on your next trip to South America, you can do a layover
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the UK.
In London, yeah, yeah, and I'll look for bacon. Apparently, that's
Yeah.
that's what I need to. Yeah.
Can never
There
go
you
wrong
go.
with bacon.
There you go. Well, hey, Chris, thanks. You're a very good support on those things. Just throw that out there.
I just have to throw in one more from Mark.
Oh, yep.
He says, "Come now, we have no money. We like the dollar now."
Yep.
Oh, that's
No
funny.
kidding.
That's funny.
All right. Well, hey, on a slightly different topic, but still geocaching related, the hashtag Mission GC adventure is now partway through. And for any of our listeners who may not know what this is, could you perhaps, Chris, briefly explain hashtag Mission GC?
Yeah, so the last few summers we've had various souvenir promotions, and this year we wanted to do something like that again, but we wanted to shake it up a little bit, and we decided to add this puzzle component to the proceedings. And so what has happened is that there are 3 different souvenir weekends, and a week prior to when the souvenir is available, premium members receive the Mission GC puzzle, and so they have a week to work it out. And basic members get access to the puzzle the day, so the Saturday of the weekend. So for instance, this is a souvenir weekend coming up here, Saturday and Sunday. So premium members have had several days now to work on the current puzzle, and basic members will get access to it on Saturday. And once you've solved the puzzle, you learn what you have to do to earn the souvenir. So the first weekend, you had to find a cache with 10 favorite points, and this coming weekend, I can't tell you what you have to do because I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't solved the puzzle yet. But so we have this weekend, and then we'll have one more coming up after this weekend. So 3 souvenirs in all.
Cool.
There's a nearly finished maze in my living room.
Is there? Well, that's good.
Well, is it? How has the general response been from the geocachers to this hashtag Mission GC?
I love how we do the
Hashtag.
The Octothorpe?
word of that, because that's how we do it around the office. Whenever we talk about it, we say hashtag Mission GC. No, I think the response has been pretty positive so far. There have been a couple of little technical glitches that we've had to work our way through, but I think the puzzles have been. One of the things that was kind of tough for us was to come up with puzzles that would be challenging enough without overwhelming people that aren't puzzle people, and I think we've managed to do that by giving progressively more helpful hints if you're doing the puzzle and you're having trouble with it. You've got hints at your disposal. So I think for the most part the reaction's been really good, and we've also, I'm sure we'll have some takeaways to help us with future stuff like this too.
Nice. So you guys are having fun with the artwork and the graphic design elements of these challenges, the puzzles, even the souvenirs. So who at geocaching.com puts all this together?
Well, it was it's a pretty wide effort actually. The marketing team is the one that came up with the general idea for Mission GC, and then they essentially put out a call to a large part of the company and said, hey, if you're interested in helping with creating these puzzles, let's see some ideas. And then I think it was 3 to 5 people that worked on the puzzles and came up with each of the 3, and so that was people from various areas of the of HQ, and then the artwork is also handled internally, and I think the artwork's really cool. I mean, it really looks neat. And Roxy and Nate are our designers, and they're the ones that do really any souvenir, most of the souvenir type stuff that we have come out, and a lot of the the geocoins and the trackables, and most of our promotional stuff comes from Roxy and Nate. So they've been around a while. They're really creative, and they have a good eye for what geocachers like. So, but when I saw the Mission GC stuff, it really kind of captured that, I don't know, that James Bond-esque feel of things, kind of that spy mystery type theme. And so I just thought they did a great job with it.
Very nice.
Love it. So if geocachers... Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry, Land Monkey, I jumped ahead.
That's all right, no worries.
If geocachers had an idea... you said okay. had an idea for a future Mission GC... Let me try one more time. If geocachers had an idea for a future Mission GC or other souvenir-worthy challenge, how might they submit that idea to geocaching.com?
Oh, I think probably the best thing is to go to the contact on our website, just on the lower right hand of the footer on our website. And if you just submit a general inquiry, and we always love hearing ideas, and all of that stuff gets read by us at HQ. So, yeah, we always love hearing. The community always comes up with cool stuff. So if somebody has an idea that they want to throw our way, we would love to hear it.
Awesome. Hey, can I jump back to my question?
Yeah, please. I got a little excited.
That's all right. No worries. Just didn't know. I didn't know if we were going to just keep rolling. That's all right. But RockChalk, you were sort of recapping earlier in the conversation the adventure thus far for the hashtag Mission GC. And as we recall, the first puzzle was the license plate cipher, and that resulted in us learning we had 2 days to find a cache with 10 or more favorite points. The second puzzle is out, and it's a maze, so I don't think we're giving anything away there.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Since you've already taken the lead, I won't spoil what the mission is. But the question that I have is, so you've given us a lot of insight into how you guys came up with the puzzles themselves and how you came up with the artwork and all that. But what criteria do you use to decide what the missions themselves would be?
You mean as far as like the favorite point thing versus the? Yeah, that was. So the 10 favorite points, that was really just trying to get people to get out and find good caches. I mean, that if a cache has 10 or more favorite points, chances are it's something that the local community thinks is a pretty good one. And so if we can direct people to try to get out and find those kinds of caches, and also that you pick a number like 10 and you feel like, generally speaking, most people should be able to find one like that. We didn't want to do, you'd hate to do like find a cache with 150 favorite points and then leave it to where somebody in some area doesn't even have a cache like that at their disposal. So we wanted to drive people to quality caches, but also make it a number that just about everybody would be able to track something like that down and be able to get the souvenir. So that was the thinking behind that first one.
Nice. Well, it took me to a cache that, less than 10 miles from my house, and I have to say it was one of the best ones I found. So.
Awesome. Well, it's another fantastic summer event theme from geocaching.com, and we're in no hurry for it to be over. We're enjoying the journey, but once it does wrap up, because, well, all good things must come to an end, right? Could you give us maybe a little hint of what's next from the good folks at geocaching.com?
Oh, well, I think the next thing coming up is going to be International Geocaching Day later this month. So, yeah, so we're kind of gearing up for that, and for those of us here in the Northwest, of course, we've got a mega event coming up here pretty quickly. So, HQ-wise, though it's that International Geocaching Day thing, and then a lot of us from HQ will be looking forward to that Ape Mega event coming up here next weekend. So that's kind of what's coming up next
Nice.
for us.
Nice. So this is the first year without a block party, and there's no feeling of loss there at HQ. There's plenty to do, isn't there?
Well, there is, but yeah, I mean, there's certainly been plenty of us that kind of sit around talking, just going like, "Oh, remember last year? That was so much fun." I mean, it's not something where we're like, "Oh, thank God we don't have block party this year to deal with." It's not that at all. There's certainly lots of us who have mixed emotions about it not happening. So, but yeah, it was a huge endeavor, and so it is good to be able to spread some of those people's efforts to other places too.
Awesome. Hey, well, speaking of International Geocaching Day, I believe that is also the official finish line, if you want to call it that, for the hashtag HQ Duck Dash. And I'm kind of curious as to what the participation looks like from a geocaching HQ perspective.
He's speechless.
Not everyone at once.
You stumped him.
I did. Oh, there he is.
Oh, am I back again? Gosh
Yeah.
darn! Jeez, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to improve my connection or something.
It's the Googles.
Right, the Googles. Participation's been pretty good in the Duck Dash. I think we're going to have to wait until we see till it's over, to where we really get an idea for just how successful it was. Once we see that end finish line and those events at the end where the TBs check in, I'm really excited to see what kind of discovery numbers we see and mileage we see and that kind of stuff. I know at HQ, since we can't participate in the actual contest, we have an internal contest going on where people are competing for the same kind of stuff that the general community is, and except we're just competing against each other, and some folks have come up with some pretty creative ways of getting discoveries and all that stuff on their ducks. So it's been kind of fun to watch that, and I just assume that people out in the community are getting creative too. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the finish line looks like.
Now,
Very cool.
When you say creative, you're not referring to cheating, right? Because typically when you say, "Oh, they're creative," that usually means cheating.
I'm not at all. So
oh, very good.
So I will tell you that one of the lackeys, so one of the categories that we have with our internal competition is a number of times that your duck is discovered. And so one of the lackeys went to a mega event, and when people would ask her for a tag, she would say, "Okay, I'll give you a tag, but you have to discover my duck." And
Nice.
I thought that was pretty wily of her, and she's also got somewhat of an advantage in that she works in the lobby, so she's meeting people every day, and she can just constantly hold various things ransom in exchange for discoveries on her duck. So I think she's got the inside track on that particular category. My duck, I don't know if it's even moved. I think I placed it at HQ one day, and I'm not sure if it's even left yet. So I'm not winning anything for this. I'm out.
Well, you had a chance for 3 discoveries right here tonight.
At least 3.
You could have held us ransom.
You're right. I could have held it up, or I wasn't thinking. See, that's why I'm not good at these contests. I could have just held it up, and everybody could have discovered it, and it would have been cool. But
exactly. If you had held it up on the podcast, you'd have a bunch of discoveries tonight.
I know. I didn't think about it. Maybe next time.
If you want to, I can put it in the show notes. Give you a little boost there and see if it
leg up.
See if it helps.
There you go. Hey, I actually had a question. When I read through the rules and the gameplay for the hashtag HQ Duck Dash, I noted that there was this thing about getting a souvenir, that as long as you participate, you get a souvenir. So how did that should people already have those as soon as they log their ducks, or do they get them on the 20th? How does that work?
No, I think that's happening on the 20th. That's something. I'll look.
Okay.
I'll look that up and see how, because I'm not completely familiar with that, and I'll get back to you guys, and you can put it in the show notes or something, so everybody will know what's going on with that.
Cool.
Sounds
Thanks.
great.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about that one, how that was going to work.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
So-
I know our duck is going to be at an event on the 20th, just before we get on the cruise ship. So then he's gonna finish up the event and go to Alaska.
Nice.
How devilish of you.
Yes. Well, actually, I do have to once again thank listener to the show Sprouter for giving us the trackable tag that we've been using for the duck.
Yes, and it's there's some very interesting logs on that trackable if you're interested.
You like that? I thought I would try something a little bit different. I know the contest is you're only supposed to submit one log for the contest, but I thought, well, I'm gonna be creative. I think is that what RockChalk would say.
It's the trackable log of the week. The
There you go.
to low doesn't quite work. Now, Chris, if Jayhawk Nation wanted to reach out, or any of our listeners reach out and contact you, what's the best way to do that?
Oh, well, you can, of course, you can always do it through my profile, which is just RockChalk. They're on geocaching.com. I'm trying to be a little better about posting pictures every so often on Instagram. I've got Geo RockChalk is my Instagram account, and so I'm trying to share some pictures from my various geocaching adventures. But yeah, either of those ways, feel free to get in touch, and that'd be cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Land Monkey, what about you? What if they wanted to see pictures of maybe you in a duck?
Well, again, we're quite active on our Instagram feed, so Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope. That would be at LandMonkeyGC. And our website is landmonkey.blogspot.ca. That has all of our contact info on there. As well, you can follow us on Facebook at Team Landmonkey, and of course, YouTubes. With just search Landmonkey on the YouTubes, and I'm sure you'll come up with something interesting and creative.
Ah,
And
sure,
Mighty-
the YouTubes.
How about you, Wits End?
Thursday night, 9 p.m., I'm right here on Caching in the Northwest, and that's about the extent of my activity lately. But I do occasionally throw the random tidbit out on social media at twitter.com/witsend or facebook.com/witsend. But just come back Thursday night and hang out with us. It's such a fun, friendly time with you and me and, well, you, Bad Cop. How about you? Where can they find you?
Thanks for including me. You can look at me on the Twitters. That's CachingNW. Facebook.com/CachingNW. And one that I like a lot is that Google Plus. That's google.com/plus CachingNW. Of course, you can always head to CachingNW.com/hosts and find all these links in case you missed it.
Right arm. Well, folks, we want to thank you once again for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. And remember that you can be part of the show. Call 253-693-TFTC. Leave us a comment, ask a question, or send us a completed maze any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingandw.com. And hey, remember to include our Twitter feed and Instagram feed when you're doing your #geocache road trips this summer. All right, well, remember that your support helps to keep quality shows coming. If you like this show, please click the Patreon link on the CachingNW.com website. This show is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copy all right, 2016 by Chris Umfenauer. So if you're watching live or later on YouTube, stay tuned for
The After Show.
Are we done yet?
And we're clear. You and your all right used up all the exit music.
That's how he rolls.
I just like to throw it in every once in a while, so you never know when it's coming.
Okay, Chris, we finish up the Q&A in this after show. It's only on YouTube. We don't post it on the feed, so we do some fun things. But Dora Moore has a couple of things. She said she had a wonderful time, herself and the whole bunch of cashers, and the jacket was treated like royalty.
The jacket was discovered many times. I was kind of impressed with that, how many times it was discovered before it got back to HQ. So very, very creative. There's no doubt about that. And I saw that she made a comment asking me if I had checked the pockets, and I did not check the pockets. So I need to check them now. Obviously, I need to check the pockets now.
All right. Are we going to check them live on the air?
No, I'd have to go upstairs. It's not. I have to go upstairs. Yeah, it might take a few minutes. I mean, I could if you want me to, but it would. I have to leave for a few minutes.
Why don't you leave? Go get the jacket. We'll keep going through the Q&A. We want to see what's in the pockets.
Yeah, we kind of do.
Okay. All right. I'll be back.
Mark said, summer. I remember what that was. We had a day here in April.
Yeah.
Northwest sounds like it gets better summers. No, it doesn't. It's not
terrible.
worth
It
coming
rains
here
all
here at
summer
all.
here.
Yeah.
It's miserable and gray and terrible.
Yeah.
Stay where you are.
Don't follow our social media feeds. They're misleading.
He says, of all the things to protect in Europe, it's sad bees aren't on the list.
Are or are not?
Aren't
Aren't.
are not on the list. That's because it was, Brexit with the bees.
They all left.
They all left. By the way, when did you add a piano?
Well, I think somebody also already made the comment, but the piano has. Yeah, it was Limax said the piano has always been there. It's just depends on how the camera's angled.
No,
he's back.
Wow, that was quick.
Yeah.
Well, it was quick because I couldn't get into the room. So my sister's in town.
Oh, okay.
And she's sleeping in that bedroom, and I think she's already gone to bed. So
so she'll never notice if you come and go while she sleeps.
Now she's holding the jacket hostage. It's
It's a
Chris,
family affair here.
You did say, Chris, that there's a Instagram feed you have that you've encouraged people to follow. So maybe post pictures of what was in the pocket on your Instagram feed.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I can do that for sure. I'll make a note to myself. We'll check the jacket and post the results on Instagram. Happy to do that.
You're a good sport.
B Pendragon says, I had this week's puzzle in less than 5 minutes. I may have also used some image manipulation to do it. Interesting. There you go.
Very cool.
And, of course, Limax says, there are Chris's everywhere tonight. And there should be.
Does that mean we've christened the show?
Oh, yes. Ooh. There was a Chris on the previous podcast as well.
I don't know, but I think this show's been double Chris'd.
That's a good thing. Limax says he'd love to hike in the park, referring to Intervales in Brazil. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is an awesome park to hike in. I think we really only scratched the surface when we were there, and like I said, we covered like 13 miles that day. So
wow.
It's really a beautiful park, and we weren't even there on what I would call a great weather day. It was kind of off and on misting, and there was kind of a low cloud ceiling. So I think that you can get better days than we did, but even still, like I said, it was winter time, but it was still, I think it was in the low 70s, upper 60s, low 70s. It was really comfortable, and the lodges that they have there, the one that we stayed in, it wasn't what I would call rustic, but it also wasn't, what you would call, a modern amenity type place. I mean, but it was enclosed. You had a bed, you had a shower, but there was no heat or air conditioning, but you didn't need it. It was just really. I was really a little bit concerned actually, because almost immediately after we stopped caching on Saturday, late Saturday, it started raining, and it was like really, really raining. And the last maybe 12 miles into the park are dirt road. And I was really a little bit concerned about, are we going to be able to get out of here tomorrow? I mean, because it was raining that hard. And I remember when Rui and I went to dinner, I said something to him about that, and he said, "Oh no, it would have to rain for days and days for the roads to be that bad." And I thought, okay, fine, but I was still like throughout the night, I woke up a few times and it was still raining, and it was still raining, and I just thought, oh man, is it a problem here? And he was right; it was fine going out of the park. We got lucky. Yeah, I guess so. But we got lucky that the rain started. I mean, truly within 10 minutes after we stopped caching, and it was just like somebody flipped a switch and out. They just opened up the gates and the flood just started. So we were lucky the way it worked out for us.
Brazil is home of the Amazon.
This is true.
That is true. Yes.
Limex says, "Great. Now I have Night on Bald Mountain going through my head."
Oh yeah, yeah. It really was too. It was Bald Mountain there. It's just east of Park City, and it's a really nice hike actually. It's only 2 miles or so from parking to the summit. So you start at something like, I don't know, 10,500. It's a relatively little rocky towards the top, but beautiful views of the surrounding it, and yeah, Utah has just some great, awesome caching. I mean, you could cache for years and just scratch the surface down there.
Nice.
Mark, also from OBeep, says, "Is this a new service to ensure muggles stay in the game?" And he's referring to you popping up at the second geocache.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, there. Now, is that an elite service? Is that like an in-app purchase?
It should be, shouldn't it? That's a new business model that we should explore.
Clearly, it's the best thing to happen to Brazil all summer. Nothing else is going on down there.
Right.
You should watch some TV.
I did. I watched a guy climb the Trump Tower in New York City.
Oh yeah.
All right.
He's wrong. Okay. Chris Iham says to eat some Arthur Bryant's for him while you're in Kansas City.
Oh man, yeah, barbecue debate. Bryant's is solid. There's no doubt. I love Bryant's. There's definitely a couple spots that I hit when I go back home. So you kind of have to pick your. And hit a couple the next time you can't do them. Yeah, there's some awesome barbecue
breaking
back
up
in Kansas
again.
City.
Yeah.
There's got to be somebody in your house watching Netflix.
Buffering.
I know, and I thought I told everybody to stop. I don't know why they are still doing it, but back now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, off and on.
Okay.
Yeah. B
Off and on.
Pendragon.
Gosh darn, I don't know why.
Well, that's okay.
I don't know why that'd be happening. But yeah, the great barbecue back home. So I'll be looking forward to that later this month.
B Pendragon adds, Brazil skips past cats and dogs directly to jaguars and short-eared dogs. Welcome to the Amazon.
Talking about the rain.
The rain, yeah. It doesn't rain cats and dogs.
Very funny. I noticed as well that Mark from OBeep had asked if we had answered the piano question while he was he was away from there, and yes, we did. It's always been there. But if you're still on here, I just want to remind you that you need to send me your address. I've got an envelope sitting on my desk that needs to get to you.
So Mark wants to know, he didn't listen to the episode about the gadget games, and he goes, police. So was RockChalk escorted by Sting? Not that.
I don't know. Jay, do you want to answer that, or should I?
I'm kind of curious to hear your response.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was a police escort, technically. So yeah, what I had was they had box cars. So they had these large cardboard boxes that they had decorated to look like cars. So I was driving a Ferrari, and the two escorts that I had were driving police vehicles, and they really did it up right. They had a little hat and
Yeah, it was pretty much the full on Keystone Cops kind of scenario going on there.
I love it. So if Sting retires, will he change his name to Stung?
In the raffle, I won a steering wheel.
There you go.
It's right here.
oh
And-
wow.
You may notice I have my Gadget Games badge hanging here.
Oh, very nice.
And what color is that badge?
It's wood tone.
I believe it was RockChalk that suggested the color that we needed to choose for you.
I don't acknowledge the back of the metal at all. It's only wood tone on the front.
Mine's hanging up here too. Up there.
Have we lost RockChalk again?
I don't know, but he looks
very
happy.
happy.
Oh, there we go. I saw his eyebrows move. He's there.
No, I'm just
Okay.
in case that helps with the feed. I don't know if it seems like if I move more, it tends to have problems. So I'm just like trying to sit still at this point, just yeah.
Oh, it's been busy. Thank you guys for a lovely Q&A.
Yes.
Let's see. Limax says his duck has gone nowhere. Dora Moore says, yep, we discovered her duck on Tuesday.
Oh, the lady
Now-
in the lobby.
Yeah. Okay, Dora Moore, and this one will be important for everyone listening, says the Keystone Cashers were with us when we visited HQ, and they were thrilled with the tour, as was Marty the Caveman and I. The TB is, are you ready? It's TB 5 Quebec November Golf.
Very good.
TV 5 QNNG. So,
That may be a few more discoveries right there.
exactly. So there you go. Apparently, Land Monkey J or Mark missed the fact of what cache you have in mind for 9,000.
Oh, we haven't picked a specific one yet, but odds are it's going to be an Earth cache, and
Who knew?
it is going to be in Alaska.
Nice. I think Wits End and I, by the time we hit 9,000, we'll be able to find the first cache on the moon.
Yeah, pretty much.
There'll be regular service by that time.
And you'll hear about it here on Caching in the Northwest.
Episode 1,972,000.
Okay. Limax has done the puzzle by hand.
Wow.
This week's puzzle.
That's Mrs. Land Monkey did that as well.
Mm-hmm. Die Monkey says, Wits End, I sent you a message on Facebook regarding an event at the end of the month.
Yes.
Seems mysterious.
Dun dun dun.
Okay. So several that no Q&A on YouTube, but they can leave a tab open to the Google feed and watch the live video feed on YouTube and have the Q&A on the Googles. So
There you go.
Way to be flexible, guys.
Multitasking.
yeah, exactly. And we can only do so much for the Googles. It's not like we have a person who works there like a Dave DeBearmaker.
Yeah.
Dave. And yeah, there's a lot of talk about your piano. Would you play a little bit for us?
Not at the moment. No.
White Coaster said the daughter did the puzzle for us.
Very nice.
Yes, and I'm just bumbling around. That's how I cache.
B reference, perhaps.
Yes. IHAM says Die Monkey will be going for number 2,000 in Port Orchard this weekend. That's at the
Awesome.
Pirate event.
That'll be cool.
And Chris, are you heading up there to the Pirate event? Dead Man Tell
Or
No
down
Tales?
there.
Down there, yeah.
I'm not, but there are a lot of
Okay.
lackeys that are. There's quite a few going down. So, like I said, my sister's here, so we're doing some other stuff.
Sure.
But folks that are really excited about it.
It's going to be
Well-
a really cool event.
Let me tell you, if you have a chance to do a battle sail on one of those two ships, you absolutely have to do it. It's an incredible event. I was able to do it. Was it 2 years ago they did this event? Thereabout. It was fabulous. A full battle sail with cannons and the ships stalk each other. It's a lot of fun.
Wow, that's really neat.
Let's see. Limax says, I'm planning for number 1850 on September 9th. Have a great road trip planned for it. Limax has done some very unique numbers. On July 4th, he found 1776. And, yeah, exactly, right?
So what's the significance of 1850 on September 9th?
Statehood of California.
Mm.
Oh, is it
It's
the
in
ninth state?
1850. No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, but in 1814 we took a little trip.
I heard
Mhm.
about
That
that,
was different.
along with Colonel Jackson.
Yeah. September 9th is my birthday.
Oh, is it? Well, happy
Hey.
birthday.
Thank you. I won't be 50.
Yeah,
Ever?
youngin.
Ever?
Well, if I keep making comments like that, yes.
That's true.
Oh, let's see. Mark says we're so close to 1,000 caches. Going to be a micro in the woods, just to be different. Okay. Well,
There you
That's
go.
it,
California was
folks.
admitted to the U.S. on September 9th, 1850. Cool.
There
oh,
you
so it was September 9th. Okay. Oh, it was in 1850. I mean, sure. That's right. That's what I said. I was
Yep.
pretty close.
All right.
I don't see. There it is. So yeah, those are fun milestones to hit when they have some interesting numbers to them. Folks, be sure to tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat station.
Mm-hmm.
Later. Bye now.
Night.
Good night.